Ever wonder how some people manage to transform their physique in a matter of months while others spend years grinding just to look no different? Well, I did, because I was one of the unfortunate people who wasted a lot of their earlier years in the gym. But after over 11 years of training, I've learned a number of lessons which have helped me build and maintain a lean, athletic physique. So in this video, I'll share with you the 3 biggest takeaways that built me the body I have today. Lesson 1. Now, this lesson is the reason why some people blow past their goals while others remain stuck, even though they're putting in the same amount of effort. So I used to swap training splits and exercises frequently because I was constantly chasing the next best thing. But ironically, I wasn't really making that many gains. But I had a friend who started around the same time as me, and they were making tons of progress. I couldn't understand why. So of course I asked him, what are you doing differently? And you know what he told me? You know, the same stuff as when we started, which was nothing out of the ordinary. We're talking squats, deadlift, bench, rows, the regular stuff. I couldn't believe he was making so much progress from doing that. Now, I wanted those results. So of course I decided to copy. I went back to the basics. A horizontal push, a horizontal pull, a vertical push, a vertical pull, a squat variation, a hip hinge, a calf press, a lateral raise. But this time I stuck with it week to week. Now, it wasn't until a few months later, but I noticed that I was making the most consistent gains that I'd ever made. I was making the most progress that I'd ever had in the gym before. And that's the lesson here. The boring fundamentals are often the things that are going to get you most of the way to your goal. It's the fundamentals over the fads. And the truth is, most people overlook it because it's just not sexy. When the reality is, high effort lifting, eating enough quality food, adequate recovery, and tracking all of it is most of the battle. For that average gym goer who just wants to look better, that will get you 90% of the way there. Then, and only then, once you get there, can you worry about the remaining 10%. Otherwise, you're missing the forest for the trees. By the way, if you're struggling to build your physique and you want my help, check the link in the description. Lesson 2. Now, this lesson is advice that people blindly follow, when in actuality, it's the very thing that holds them back from ever reaching their true physique potential. Okay, so for the longest time, barbell squats were, and still are regarded by some, as the king of all lower body exercises. There was a point where you couldn't go anywhere. I'm talking online or offline. People would say, if you don't do squats, your legs won't grow. And of course, if you hear somebody with tree trunk legs say that squats build tree trunk legs, and you haven't got tree trunk legs, of course you're going to listen to them. And with me being a less experienced lifter, that was something I was 100% going to do because I wanted tree trunk legs. So I spent years grinding out barbell squats, even though deep down, I knew that there was a better option out there for me. So after summoning enough courage, I decided to experiment, and I decided to switch from barbell squats to pendulum squats. And you want to know what? I haven't looked back since. And that's the thing. I couldn't care less about squatting. Not one day in my life have I woke up and said, you know what? I want to become a world-class squatter. Never. And again, I just wanted to grow tree trunk legs. So the pendulum squat was the squat for me. I didn't have to worry about stability, and I didn't have to be overly technical, and I didn't have to worry about this and the angle of my shins and and having long, forget all of that. I just need to work the muscle. I need to stimulate the muscle. And that's the truth of the matter. A squat is just a movement pattern, and one that can be loaded several different ways. You can use a hack machine. You can use a Smith machine. You can use a barbell. You can use a dumbbell. There is no mandatory way to load a squat, and that goes for other exercises too. Likewise, other muscles have their own specific movement patterns too, and they can be loaded several different ways. And a particular movement pattern might not work well with you. You might not like the way it feels. It might feel awkward. It might feel clunky. And that's fine. And in most cases, it's actually better to find what works for you than to just blindly follow what other people are saying to do just because they say to do it. Let's get this straight. You don't have to do anything. Now, of course, this is within reason. There are some things that are just fact. If you lift heavy weight for reps, you will build muscle. Fact. If you do high intensity cardio training, you will develop your cardiovascular system. Fact. But when it comes to weightlifting and specific movement patterns, yeah, don't get too caught up in all of that. Lesson 3. Now this lesson, by far, is one of the most important factors that will determine whether you end up stuck in a body that you dislike versus one that you're happy to have. Now, for a while in my earlier days, I was obsessed with a high volume training program that I found online. It was completely new to me and it promised gains. There was tons of sets on top of tons of reps and muscles were being worked every other day. It was crazy. Now, on paper, this routine was perfect. But in reality, yeah, not so much. Just 3 weeks into the program, I began to hate every session. I was drained all the time. I was sore all the time. I felt like I damn lived in the gym at that point. There were so many sets and reps. The perfect program was something I was dreading every single time I woke up and saw that it was training day. It actually got to the point that I stopped going altogether for a period of time. And that was the big lesson for me. It doesn't matter how optimal something is on paper. If you don't enjoy it, you won't stick to it. And like me, you might think, well, I don't need to enjoy what I'm doing. I just need to get the job done. Now listen, you will not last. Yes, you might think you will. And the start might be a smooth ride. It might be easy. Everything might be easy going. But when it begins to get difficult, you will see how quickly you begin to flake or how quickly you begin to put in less effort. Me, for example, I get pain when I do straight bar curls. So I don't do them. I don't care how good they are. I'm not doing it. I want you to really internalize this. Enjoyability is sustainability. It's not just about the numbers. But here's the thing. These 3 lessons will only help you so far on your journey. For the longest time, I struggled to gain any decent amount of muscle. Well, that was until I realized I was making 6 big mistakes. So watch this video to find out exactly what these mistakes are and how to avoid them.